Alright, so in this video I'm going to be talking about seventh chords, and these are a little different than your triad chords because they're adding the seventh interval, or the number 7 in the scale. So there are a few. We're going to go ahead and start with the major 7 chord and show what that looks like. So if I were to write that, a major 7 chord is typically, we're going to be in the key of C for this too, just to make it easy. So if I were in C and I was going to do my C chord, my C major 7, I would write it like this. Or you may also see something like C capital M with a 7. So those both denote your major 7 chord. If it were something other than C, like let's say a G chord, it would just be written like so. So that's how you write your major chords. So what do those look like? We're going back to C. We're going to do just the C major 7 chord. And so that one we're going to start with our 1, our C, our 3, and our 5, which if you saw the video on triads, on triad chords, this is what a normal C major chord would be. Now, for a 7 chord, we are not only doing these 3 notes, but we are also doing our 7th note in the C scale. So in this case, it would be B. So now we're adding the 7th note. And so our 7 major chord is going to sound like this for C. So if we were to play just the 3 again, our normal triad, that's our normal C major, but if it was a C major 7, so you can hear it's got a slightly different sound, a slightly different flavor to it. And if you were to see that written out, not on a chord chart, but on sheet music, it's going to look something like this. We're going to be in our normal treble clef. So when we write this out, C major 7, we're gonna start. I'm just gonna put the middle C down here. So that's gonna be our C. Then we're gonna go up to E. So up here. Then we're gonna go to G. Those are our first 3. And then we're gonna finish it off with B. So that's what our chord is going to look like if we were to write it out. Our major chord, C major 7. Alright, so that's our major chord, our major 7 chord. The next one we're going to do is a dominant 7th chord. Now that one, our first 3 notes are going to be the same, but we are taking our 7th note, we're taking it down a half step, or in other words, we're making it flat. So in this case, our normal major 7 chord is going to be these notes here, take it down a half step to B flat, and that is our dominant 7 chord. So what does that look like on our music notes or music sheets? When we draw this, we're basically going to write it right here. A lot of these are going to be the same, but this one here, this B here, is going to be a flat down a half step. If we were to write this, it would simply be C7. So we're not adding anything else to denote whether it's major or minor. We're just going to write C7 for a different chord. Again, using G as an example, we'd write G7. If we're doing the E chord, E7, etc. So those are our dominant chords. That is what they look like, what they sound like, and how you play them. So our third one we're going to talk about is the minor 7. So minor 7s, you're going to notice a trend here as we continue on. Minor 7 chord, we are taking our dominant chord, our dominant 7, so that was where we had our 3 triads here the same, and we just took our 7, we took it down a half step, we went here. So from major to dominant, that's our dominant 7 chord. Now for minor, we're going to go from there. We're going to take the third note and go down half step, just like if you saw the other video on triads. Now our number 3 is also going down a half step, so E goes to E flat. So, whereas our major 7 was these, dominant 7, now minor 7. So that's our minor 7 chord. And how we draw it out. C again, middle C. Same notes, except B is flat, and so is E right here, this one here. So E and B are both flat. How we'd write that one, again, if we're using the C chord, do a lowercase m with a 7, or C minor 7. And that is our minor 7 chord. So, we've got another one more to add, and we're going to keep going down with this trend of lowering things by half steps again. So, the next one we're going to do is called, there are actually a few names for this one. So this one is going to be called a minor 7 flat 5, or you could call it half-diminished 7 chord. So this one's going to be written, this one's a bit interesting when we write it out. But for start, how do we play this? So I just showed you the minor 7, that was the E, the 3, and the 7, E and B were both moved down half a step, so they became flat. Well, and then we had G and C were our normal notes. So, as the name suggests, minor 7 flat 5. Now we're going to take the 5 and also flat that one, so move that down half a step. So now our number 3, our number 5, number 7 are all moved down half a step. Only the C remains the same. So if we were to play that together, I've got my C, E flat, G flat or F sharp, and B flat. So that is our minor 7 flat 5 or half-diminished chord. And how we would write this one out, how you would identify it on a chord chart or written out on some sheet music. C remains the same, but all of these are going to be flats. And this one is written as, we're going to abbreviate it, C minor 7, in parentheses, flat 5. You could spell out minor 2, but I'm not going to do that here because I think you should be catching on at this point. So that's what you would see for half diminished or minor 7 flat 5. Now I've got one more for this session, and that is a diminished 7. A diminished 7th chord. So we're continuing with this trend of taking notes and making them flat. So currently we've gone down to our half diminished or minor 7 diminished 5, which has our 1, our C is the same. Everything else we've brought down half a step, so we've made it flat. Now we're going to take our flat 7 and move it down another half step. So there's two ways you could think of it. You could either think of it as taking the flat 7 down a half step or the 7 down a whole step. So when we play that, see, R1 is the same, 3 is down a half step, 5 is down a half step, 7 is now down a whole step, so we're playing a 6 instead of a 7 or a 7 flat. So when we play that together, you can hear that one also has a very different and rather unsettling sound. And so when we write this one out, we're going to write it as, got our C here again, flat 3, flat 5, and we're now at a 6 instead of a 7. You may also see something like this. Those two are flat. This one up here has 2 flats. Those mean it's down a whole step. And that would just be, that would just help you know what the original chord was, which was a C. So if it's written this way, you might be able to have a better idea of what chord it is. But either way, it's the same thing. And how we write this one, C diminished 7. So those are all of our 7th chords that I have to go over for today. So hopefully this was helpful for you, and there will be more links to additional videos on chords, chord symbols, what they sound like, how to play them, in the description and in my channel.